I'm so here.
Can you show us your video instead of your picture? There you go.
Mysteriously have appeared.
There you go. And she's got that money outfit on again. And, you know, I was supposed to wear my money pants, but we came the longboat and your money earrings. Look at this girl. So tell me why you wear all that stuff.
You know, that's a great question. I get that all the time. You know, it's, you know, great marketing and a great conversational piece. You know, wearing money, it's really unique, right? People identify you in a crowd, okay? But more importantly, there's a spiritual aspect to why I wear the symbol itself, because on the currency, it says, "In God we trust." And I am a Christian woman. And I definitely believe in the laws of prosperity, the biblical, spiritual laws of prosperity. So I make sure that not only is it in my consciousness, but it's also in my physical presence as well, too. So that's why I covet and wear clothes with money symbols on it. It's very fun.
I love it. I love it. I got a pair of shorts that I have my money shorts and all. Now you say biblical and all that. So God didn't say, hey, go out there and you know, don't make any money on. And I don't want to bring anything up we got some other information for the past. I think something's kind of written about that. So I want to keep that to a little norm here, a little low on that. But Jackie, you know, that's so much. So instead of putting it on your walls as you have in the walls behind you or around you in the mirror, like people tell you, hey, you know, write down your goals or write down your vision boards. What Jackie don't write down, she wears it. Yeah. So if you're wearing it, and people are noticing you wearing it, then they're also reminding you that you're wearing it, and they're reminding you that you are it, and then become it. And that's how it works. I mean, it gives me chills thinking about that, you know. That is so awesome, so awesome.
Thank you. And you're absolutely right. You be it. You know, you embody all of that presence in your presence, right? So you're not only are you wearing it, you're thinking about it, you're confessing it by having conversations about it. So it's everywhere, and it's a lifestyle to think about abundance, opulence, and increase. It actually is a lifestyle, and you have to actually incorporate that into how you feel about yourself, as well as what you think that you are worth. When you know what you're worth, then this is not embarrassing. You know, I'm pumping gas. I'm at this local supermarket and I'm wearing my money clothes or my money shoes or my money glasses, and people are literally staring and pointing. Like I have children that go like, you know, like I'm going down the aisles and they're like, "Mom, look at this lady. Like she is literally dripping in currency."
So has that ever got you any business? I mean, have you ever received any kind of leads from wearing money clothes or money earrings or money pants or money dress that I've seen you in the past? So
Yeah, I actually have. I've gotten quite a lot of business from it. Not necessarily like real estate, because whoever I'm speaking to has to have a need, right? I gotta be talking to like a motivated seller or a buyer, and you know, what are the chances of that actually connecting? But where I have had advantageous opportunities is with other business professionals, right? So they're like, "Girl, what are you doing? I need you in my life," right? And there we have like a joint venture or some kind of like relationship, maybe private lending or something else will develop from that conversation. Yes.
That is awesome. So yeah, I mean, it just keeps you out there, keeps people knowing what you're doing, and keeps you knowing what you're doing. Because, you know, sometimes we get so busy, we kind of forget why the hell are we doing what we're doing or why we're doing it. So that is so unique. I love it. I love marketing, as you know. I'm kind of out there, and people probably think. So let me ask you this question, and I know you're a positive person, 110%, maybe 150%. Have you ever had any negative comments about what you wear? I want the real truth, the real story here. I want to know how you handled it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Not everyone is going to understand, and I totally accept that, and that's okay. So I have had, and if it's like 1 in like 1,000, you know, that those ratios are really, really insignificant. And that's really what my experience has been. It's been really, really small. But for the individuals that have had comments, some of the comments would be, you know, "I see you wearing money, but, you know, do you give to charity. Like, what is, they're questioning my benevolence, and they're questioning my generosity and what I'm giving. They're questioning if I'm, tithing and, doing whatever, and, it's so interesting to me because I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a great question. Let me show you my portfolio of how much I give every single year. What do you give?
Right.
And then the conversation usually just kind of tapers away after that.
Kind of goes away at that point. Yes. So everybody, I met Jackie. I've known Jackie for a little while. We haven't really been communicating until probably last year or so. We've been kind of touching each other on Facebook or Instagram or whatnot. And always, as always, I see your excitement, your love of life. You're always smiling, always happy, always upbeat. And then we got to meet each other in person, about 5 months ago, somewhere around there. And that was awesome. We had a little meeting together and kind of feeling each other out and all that. And I said, I got this show I'm doing on Friday, and I'd love to have you on here. And it's taken me a few months to get you on board because I know you're busy, but it's been awesome. And I just want to let everybody know about what you do. So what is it that you, first of all, I want to talk, the positive part. I want to roll into what or how, and are you doing anything through this coronavirus thing? I mean, attracting sellers, buyers, money. How are you participating, or are you just sitting at home, secluded? What are you doing?
Oh, wow. That's a really, really great question. So, of course, with COVID-19, it has definitely changed the operating environment, right? So we have some ways of how we're addressing even our own personal health and safety, as well as anybody else that we come into contact with. So abiding by the CDC and your state level ordinances and guidelines, that's definitely a given. Like, every person needs to do that, right? So that's a given. But has it hindered my business? The answer is no, it has not. So still marketing, still selling, still under contract, still doing inspections, and still doing appraisals, still business as usual, if you will. And the reason why that is I believe that COVID-19 actually heightened the awareness of how turbulent like our market can be, so sometimes people are coasting and they're like, okay, I'll take care of it tomorrow. And they're delaying the inevitable of making a decision. So what I have found is that during this particular time, people are really ready to make decisions. So if you are a service provider or a product provider that can increase the value of somebody else's life, people are looking for your help. So this is not the time to sit back and wait and watch. Like, this is our Super Bowl. This is our World Cup. This is our playoffs right now as real estate professionals to actually provide valuable services and advice to people who actually really need it. This is a great, great time. So I'm still marketing. I'm still getting deals. I'm still having deals on the contract. And for me, I am profitable in this season. I am.
That is awesome. We've been hearing from different locations. We know people all over the country, and we heard somebody that they were talking about, and this is unique or unusual, but it's not about real estate. It is in a way, but it's not. But it's about pig farming and people not being able to get their pigs to slaughterhouses to be able to produce the food for the plate for people to eat. The bacon and ham and all that. So I contacted my buddy in Indiana, and I said, hey man, is this, because I know he's a pig farmer, he's a hog farmer. So I said, what's going on? I mean, multiple other things, but he grows his own corn, he grows his own feed. So it's all self-sufficient, this whole routine he does. And he goes, Hunter, in the last 30 years, this has been my best 4 weeks ever, in the last 4 weeks. And I said, wow. And I said, dude, I'd love to do a Facebook Live with you. He goes, Hunter, he goes, if you want to do a Facebook Live with me, you're going to have to come here because I'm not going to get on a Zoom. I'm too busy to do. He goes, and then as Debbie and I were driving to Longboat Thursday night, I believe it was, and he texted me back, and I didn't see it till this morning. He goes, hey, it's only 2 hours for you to get here. I can hook you up. He's telling me all the things that we're going to do. And he goes, you can talk about it and video it and show it, and I'll show you how real world is really working. And it was just unbelievable. He's so producing, and he's doing well. So with that being said, the marketplace, and you hit it the nail on the head. People have to make a decision. I mean, or they've they've come to the understanding that, you know, this is waking them up a little bit, and they're at home, or they may have lost or on freelo, or lost their jobs, or whatever case may happen, or they got laid off for a little period of time, because we know Disney, all the big venture parks are all closed. There's lots of people not working, and they may be getting some referrals, or not referrals, some relief from the government, maybe not. So all these people have to, you know, if they have real estate or something going on, like you said, it just heightened it. It got them more aware of where they're really at with what they have going on. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that people want to close deals sooner. If they have a house for sale, they want to close them. If we're under contract, they're trying to get the inspections and the appraisals done as quick as possible, because we found some lenders saying, hey, because we like to tighten our contracts to short-term timelines to get things done, inspections, appraisals, and all that. Well, they're telling us, oh, no, you need to extend them. I've even got recorded calls with lenders saying, hey, Mr. Paschall, the reason we're asking for 45 days right out of the gate, you know, and they were doing that earlier before this, but they said we need more time because of appraisals and all that. So, you know, in some cases it's like that, and then some is not. We get things done. I mean, we just closed some deals this week, sold and bought this week. So, I mean, it's still going on. Has it slowed down a little bit? It's changed. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's slowed down, but a lot of change is happening. And that's great. That's what we need. That's what we needed anyway. And for those who are ready or not ready, you better get ready. Like you, Jackie, you're ready. I know you're ready, because you're always ready to get on that train, because that train's pulling out, and everything that we used to think about or do, and some of the stuff that we've been doing in the past may not work today. And, you know, so we have to change that. And that's what has changed, change the playing field for everybody. So what do you do?
Yeah.
What are you? What is your niche that you're in, that you're so still doing business and all that? I know people may have already seen this a little bit, but I want to hear, and I know what you're doing. So let's hear what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah, totally. So I have been investing since 2006. My first real estate investment property was 2006. Okay. So, and that property, I lost more than just my money. Sure. I lost my backside. Literally, I lost my backside in that deal. So I call it my PhD, my most expensive PhD on what not to do. So since that first experience as an investor, what that taught me is that I need to learn all of the no money down strategies, all of the strategies where I did not have to risk my personal credit, or, you know, borrow money traditionally from a bank, and actually have like personal guarantees for those types of debts. So fast forward, I have implemented and taught my students so many different types of acquisition strategies, from subject to buying the properties, you know, and getting the deed, and taking over payments, to owner financing. That's one of my favorites as well, to, you know, performing notes and non-performing notes. Those are always the best as well. You know, there has all kinds of things, to options and maximizing option agreements, where you control the property without ownership and you have the benefit of cash flowing it. But one of my favorites, and this is what I'm implementing right now, and I had been doing this for years, and I'm actually teaching it now, is tax deeds and tax lien investing. And I pretty much kind of settled on that strategy as my niche, because who I actually get my inventory from is the government. Okay, so I get it from my inventory from the counties or the state. And I love it because I really don't have to market as aggressively as I had done in the past when it came on to like direct mail and postcards and yellow letters, or whether it's knocking on doors and, you know, scouring neighborhoods and things like that, because my inventory is like literally, I type a couple of sentence keywords in, and I get the list for whatever county USA. And there's 3,141 counties and county equivalents that make up our country. So there's a plethora of opportunity out there. I love that.
Awesome.
That's what I'm doing.
That is awesome. So you're saying tax deed, tax lien. Can you tell us what a tax lien is, or how would somebody, you know, or what, I mean, kind of help us out a little bit if they don't know. I mean, a few people probably know on here, but tell us why tax lien or certificate, maybe, I guess is what I'm looking for, and why that's beneficial for somebody in this industry or want to get into this niche.
Absolutely. So, within real estate, you can, maximize any acquisition strategy or buying strategy creatively, right? Like there's like multiple ways to skin a cat. I think that's what the old saying is. But
not that I've heard it.
Or done it. Either one. But you get the point. So the one thing that is common, no matter what type of real property it is, right, that exists, is that all property owners pay real estate taxes. They're going to be assessed a value for their property, and there's going to be real property taxes, right? So your property tax, any place USA, any property owner has property tax. And every state across the country, all 50 of them, have a specific statute that says, what do we do if we have a property owner that does not pay their real estate taxes? We have a process for that, a collection process for that, that we want to enforce in the event that we have a property owner that doesn't pay. So that's what I'm taking advantage of, is the state's guidelines on what they do to enforce collection of property taxes. All right. So what is a tax lien? It basically is, it's a lien position on real property or secured by real property when an investor pays another property owner's taxes on their behalf. So in exchange for advancing payment and paying somebody else's property tax for them, what the state will do is provide a rate of return and interest rate to that individual who paid tax for, let's say, Mr. Smith, right? So I paid Mr. Smith's taxes for him. And the state says, okay, Ms. Jackson, I am going to give you a rate of return of 18% on the money that you paid for Mr. Smith. And then Mr. Smith has a period of time that he has to pay me back. And during that period of time that he has to pay me back, that's called a redemption period. So Mr. Smith, like in the state of Florida, the redemption period is 2 years. So Mr. Smith can have up to 2 years to pay me back. After that redemption period is expired and Mr. Smith does not pay me back, as the tax lien certificate owner that paid the taxes for Mr. Smith, I can go back to the county and I can say, hey, county, Mr. Smith did not pay me back. I want to enforce my lien and make sure that he pays me. And the way how we would do that is we would fill out an application called the tax deed application to enforce our lien position on Mr. Smith's property and request that the county hold an auction for that property to give me my money back. I mean, hot dang, who don't like that?
I like that. I like that.
Mm.
And so that, so is the rate, you say the rate of return is 18%. Is that something that's guaranteed? Is that a guaranteed rate, or is that a rate that the county or somebody else decides on how much your return is going to be for you paying Mr. Smith's tax liens, their liens? I mean,
yeah, that's a great question, Hunter, because it's written in the state statute. So the 18% itself is what it is. That's the max. And from state to state, it may vary. There are some states that have 12%, 16%, all the way up to like 24%. So you got to read the law and know what you're entitled to. Now, in the state of Florida, we have a really, really unique system when it comes on to tax lien certificate investing. And our auctions, at least for the 67 counties that make up the state of Florida, they have a auction method that's called like a bid down method. So it actually starts at 18% at the beginning of the auction, which is really, really unique. So it starts at its highest, its peak, and any participant, any bidder in that auction, what you're competing against is actually who's going to accept the least amount of interest rate. So that's called a bid down method in that particular auction, which is really different, because some auctions people can like wrap their minds around like a premium auction, like who's going to pay the most. But when you have a bid down, it's actually in a descending order, and you're like, what the front door are you doing?
Let me ask you that. So how would one do a bidding on something like that, or how is that like public information? Anybody can get it? I mean, is it can I do it from like we're doing right here? Do I have to go to the county? Do I have what are the processes I mean, a short, I mean, if you don't mind.
Totally cool. So in a short little summary, yes, it is public information. And I always say that all of this information is hidden in plain sight. So if you are listening and under the sound of my voice and Hunter's voice, if you're interested in tax lien investing, it is the county's tax collectors department that manages the tax lien certificate auction. And it happens once a year on or before June 1st in every county in the state of Florida. And you can register. One of the sites that you can go to is Lien Hub. So got to spell lien, got to know how to do that. And if you don't, just ask Google. Google will finish your sentence and your thoughts for you. Okay.
That's scary.
That is scary. But it's real.
only if we could train Google to give them the right responses.
Thoughts for you and take you to your destination where you thought you wanted to go. So Lien Hub is, a third-party company that facilitates the lien certificate auction for some of the counties. Other counties here in Florida use another supporting third-party company, which is realauction.com, and you can register with them for the rest of the county. So it's pretty cool. It's really self-explanatory. And then you go and they actually have like their frequently asked questions there, and you could just read all about it and all that cool stuff. So what do I teach in my course? I actually teach the due diligence, right? So the auction information, the list, the information, where to bid, the deposit, all that stuff is available on the website. The question is, what in the world are you looking at when you got all this data? And how do you know what you should bid on and what you should really stay away from? That's what I assist my students in making sure.
Because I'm sure there's other stuff that you have to look at to make sure you're bidding on the right ones. You got to make sure that, and there's a lot of things that are they occupied, unoccupied, they got any other stuff. Yeah. So I know there's a lot more than just what you're telling here on this. And we don't really have the time today to go over that. I just wanted to get you on here and talk about the excitement of it, and your personality as a self is so exciting. So when a tax lien happens, you talked about the seller doesn't pay you back, and then you call the county and complain. What happens then? I mean, how does that process work? Is there a sale or?
Yeah, and this is the second phase, okay? So here's the beautiful part about the complaint or non-complaint, right? Because you said, I'm gonna use your terminology. You don't actually have to be a tax lien certificate investor to be successful investing in tax deeds, okay? Because somebody else could have bought the certificate and paid Mr. Smith taxes for him. You don't care about all that. Good for them, that's fine. There's another process called a tax deed auction. This is when it escalates, right? When crap hits the fan. And the county's like, oh snap, we're gonna foreclose on Mr. Smith's house because he has delinquent real estate taxes that has been delinquent for X amount of time, maximum time. And now we're really, really gonna enforce it, So that's another strategy that a lot of real estate investors are taking advantage of, because when you participate in that auction, you're not just getting a lien. As a matter of fact, you don't even get a lien anymore. You actually get the deed, hence the name tax deed. You're actually issued and conveyed ownership rights to that property. You get the property itself. And that's my favorite type of auction to be a part of, to be honest with you, because I love stacking properties and just stacking them in my portfolio. And my students love doing it too. And the cool thing about the tax deed auction is that the bid. Yeah, go ahead. Ask your question, because I can talk all day about this topic.
I'm processing, thinking the process through.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've done a few. I mean, it's not like short sales and negotiating debt, but their banks are calling properties to sale. This is the county, the government. You're actually helping the government, helping people. You're being a person of providing a service for the county, getting their taxes, and then the homeowner paying their taxes. And then if the homeowner can't pay your taxes or pay back the taxes, you have the right to call your position due, or somebody does, whoever's got this certificate. And then that's when it drops into the tax deed sale, which, wow. So is that all public record? And I mean, so when it does a sale, is that it? I mean, you get a deed free and clear of all liens, encumbrances and all that, or is there more to it than that? Or is it that easy?
Well, it is that easy. So I just want to preface it that way. I mean, it really is that simple process that you had outlined. Okay. Now, is there more things to do after you get the deed? Absolutely. Right. So one of the things that any tax deed owner will have to consider as part of their exit strategy is setting aside funds so that they can actually clear the title, right? So you have a few different options that you can do in order for you to be eligible for title insurance. Okay, so that's really what that secondary process in your exit strategy is for, not necessarily for ownership, because you own it. Like you own it. Like the next following years, real estate taxes, you responsible for it, right? Because now you are that property owner. But what the tax deed does not come with is clear and marketable title. So there's a secondary process that the tax deed owner should consider going through in order to make sure that they have marketable title only in the event that they want to, sell it to somebody else or something like that, who requires to have like buyers, title insurance or seller's title insurance. So that's the secondary process.
What if somebody doesn't have the ability to buy the tax deed and know about it? Or, I mean, is there any partnering or coaching or something that happens there? Can you fill me in on that a little bit?
Yeah, totally. So in my coaching program, it's a 7-week program, and it's actually really, really amazing because they get me personally. There's a lot of courses where you have to take like online, and that's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to deter anybody from taking the online course, but sometimes you're left with questions and you want to be able to access the educator. And in my particular course, you get me personally as a coach, and I'm here with you, although in a virtual setting. It's practical application, and it's left seat, right seat, where we're actually like doing it together. That's why a lot of people love working with me, because of that hands-on kitchen table, I'm sitting right beside you type of feeling. So that's what they get when they work with me personally. But the whole process itself is quite simple. And once you understand what you're looking for inside your due diligence, because that's really what your meat and potatoes are with this system, with this particular strategy, is making sure that you understand everything about that property and the previous property owner and their situation before you even bid at the auction. That's just mitigating your risks and actually having a plan in place in the event that there's even any small, minute risks. You already have a plan to take care of it.
So there's a little bit more to it. So you need somebody, if you're not versatile in this area, this arena. I mean, so it sounds like title searches and all kinds of things that have to take place or information, and that's good. So people need to know these things. I've been to auctions, real estate foreclosure auctions, and been at the steps at Seminole County myself and bidding on some things. And this is back in the day. I don't do it. I don't personally go anymore. We have others that go for us, but I'm sitting there and I know that this person was bidding on this house, this property, this mortgage, and it was a second mortgage. And this guy's a guru. He's been around. I mean, he even teaches it or taught it, back then. But I went up to him. I said, "Hey, this is a second mortgage." And they said, "Oh, no, it's the first mortgage. My turn." Looked at. I said, "Okay." So I walked away from him and just let him go. And he won the bid. And then when he came out, after paying his 5% deposit and all that, came out after being the winning bidder. I guess he got a phone call from somebody else, and somebody else just verified what I had told him, that, "Hey, dude, you just bought a second mortgage on a property that's got, So, I mean, so you can make mistakes in this industry if you don't get all the right information. So information is very, very, is very important to us in this day and age. And information is easier to get even in this day and age. But then you have to watch where you're getting your information from and who you're getting it from, because look at the media. The media is talking about this thing and it's going to cripple the world, which it did. But it's because a lot of it's because of the media and where they've taken us and taken people. We're in Longboat, and this is an area where it's mostly retired people, a lot of money over here, and a lot of boats and all. But we saw thousands of boats out on the water the other day. It's just everywhere, and people they're being precautious, but they're not they're not being stupid about it, but they're taking the precautions. But people have to get out. People can't be cooped up in houses and all. So this is just amazing here. So make sure you know where you're getting your information from. That's why I brought Jackie on today, because she's been doing this. I've done a few of them. I'm not nearly as educated as she is, up to date educated as she is, by no means. And if we had questions, that's who I would go to. I would call Jackie for some questions and answer, instead of me trying to go to somewhere and find out. Why not go to the person that's doing it? That's hands-on, hand-holding, and whatnot. Not that we're trying to sell you anything here. We're just giving you an idea of what things are and how things can happen. So I heard a few things. So if there's a tax deed sale, so people are behind on their deeds, you ever find anybody behind on their mortgage at the same time with that?
That's a great question. So they're not behind on their deeds, they're behind on their taxes, right? So their deed is what's actually up for sale because of their taxes. So sometimes when you're going through your due diligence, the property owner may have an active mortgage on that property that's secured by that property. But the cool thing about tax deeds is that they actually take precedence over that mortgage. Yeah, they actually supersede it and take priority over it. So at the end of the tax deed auction, if you are the successful winner of that deed, that mortgage does not transfer to you as the new tax deed owner. So that's why it's so advantageous. Now, there are a few liens that are exceptions that may transfer, and that's what you need the education for in your research, just to make sure that you lower those risks. But the mortgages do not transfer.
Right, I got you. So you mentioned the date June 1st earlier. What is the significance of that date? I mean, what is that big date, or June? What is the big significance of that?
Yeah, definitely. So for the state of Florida, the statute is 197, right? So Florida statute 197, anybody can Google it if they want. I mean, this is like public knowledge, right? So state of Florida statute 197, it says that on or before June 1st, the tax collector will hold and host an auction for the delinquent real estate taxes that have not been paid for the year prior. Okay, so right about now, it's May, it's the month of May. So somewhere, I would probably say it's beginning, and this is where I see it. It depends on from county to county. If you're a tax lien investor, anywhere between like May 24 to like June 1st, that's that last week in May, the auctions are opening up. So, and what they're actually selling is the opportunity to pay somebody else's real estate taxes for tax year 2019. That's what's happening. But tax deed auctions are happening weekly. Those auctions happen a lot more frequently than the liens do here in Florida. Those could be once a week, bi-weekly, once a month, once a quarter. It just depends on the county's inventory of what is available. So it's actually throughout the year is the tax deed. So you can go to a tax deed auction like every month, in your county, if that's what you're desiring to do.
Wow, that's awesome. So is it, I know here in Florida, they put a hold on the foreclosures and the starting of foreclosures and for the, providing the lawsuits. So they have a 60-day or 6 months, depending on the banks or whatnot, to 60 days from the government saying, hey, you can't start a foreclosure. Is that the same for taxes? I mean, is it halted the business operation, or the deed still, or the tax sales still going on and all that, or because is it different, or what's happening with that?
And what's so interesting about that, because our Governor DeSantis, right, I always say his name wrong, right? Our governor, right? So yeah, he put an order out, right? Kind of an executive order kind of thing for I think it's foreclosures, like you mentioned, Hunter, as well as evictions, right? There's like a 45 or 60 day bar, for enforcement if you are on that side of the fence where you wanted to enforce, your right to collect from that borrower or that tenant. However, on the taxes side, interestingly enough, no, it did not affect the tax side. They are still collecting real estate taxes. Now, here's how it did change for tax deed investors. Because the government offices were not open, That's the kicker. So because a lot of the government offices were not open, so whether it was a property appraiser, the clerk of courts, or the tax collector, those offices were closed, right? They're government bodies, they were closed, and people were teleworking and commuting. So the scheduled auctions that they had for those last 4 to 6 weeks, what happened is that they just got pushed to the future, to the right. So what you have found is that there's an abundance of properties that are coming up on auction in May, June, and July are like packed. So that's why I say, Super Bowl, this is your season, your winning season, because all it did is just delay, but it didn't stop it. It didn't stop it by any means. And then you also had counties that have virtual auctions as well. So they were already positioned to be successful with their implementation of their auctions. So those counties still move forward and had auctions. So they did have some counties that had auctions in April, not many, but they did. And then May, definitely everyone's going to, open back up and resume business as usual, because the county needs those taxes, all right? Because taxes take care of our infrastructure for our county, taxes take care of our school districts, taxes take care of our paved roads, the stoplights, our emergency services. That's what our real estate taxes take care of. So they have to.
That's what they're telling you.
Well, that's what it says on the statement. You get to say the little breakdown of percentages, who gets what, where, when, why. You were like, oh, okay.
I don't even get involved in all that because I know my face will be blood red, redder than it is now.
Because they have another category called general, or they have a category called other. Ain't nobody know what's in that one.
So is it possible to approach a homeowner that's going to tax deed sale and create a deal with them before the deed or the sale even happens?
Yes. Yeah, it is. It actually. Yeah.
In other words, create some kind of win-win for the homeowner, because I know you're about, helping people and doing the right thing and being above board and broad of everything you do because of your background, what you've been through your life and brought through. So you can actually approach a tax deed sale property, the owner, and say, hey, is there a way I can help you out? Or is that one of your techniques, or is that something you do or suggest, or you do that? Or
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be considered like a motivated seller, right? That's a category of what would be a highly motivated seller because their auction date is quickly approaching, right? So if they don't pay the total sum needed to redeem their property, then they run the risk of losing their property in its entirety altogether. So that they're definitely willing to listen and to see what you have to say. So when you approach any property owner that's in a distressful situation, you definitely need to have empathy. Our business as real estate professionals is we're in a people business. You're not necessarily taking on what they're going through, but you definitely should have an ear to hear and a heart to really listen to what they're saying. Meet them where they're at and create a solution that's advantageous for everybody in that transaction. Because it could be anybody, mama, daddy, sister, auntie, cousin, brother, whatever. These are real human beings and they need some place to go. So I'm always really cognizant and really concerned about where are they going to go? Do you have enough money to go someplace? Like, what if your property did get auctioned and then somebody's knocking on your door and saying, hey, I'm the new owner of this property and you need to vacate? Because in the state of Florida, there's no right of redemption after the property is sold at the deed auction, right? So no back,
because it's not like that in every state, Michigan being one of those, I know.
Yeah.
So that being said, is there a possibility that somebody's behind on their taxes and they don't have any other debt on that property? Have you ever run across anything like that?
All the time. And it's so peculiar because you'd say, oh my gosh, like you literally own your property free and clear. Why in the world would you allow your property taxes to go delinquent this long where you're risking the county auctioning your property before your delinquent taxes? It's mind boggling. But here's the thing. I have found that people fall not only just, you would assume is like financial hardships, but what I've also found is properties are passed down and they're like inherited, right? So you have a lot of properties that are inherited by heirs or, you know, beneficiaries and so on like that. And they're really unaware that they had to pay real estate taxes. And it's just so weird to me that they did not know that that was a requirement, even though Aunt May and Aunt Sally had, you know, willed them this house. And yeah, you know, that's a thing. So that's usually some of the cases as well.
So that's unique, and a lot of people don't think about that's probably in this. Or why do you chase tax deeds? Well, there's all kind of results that you can come from. Is there any way of checking? I don't know, because I don't. This is just something I came up. These questions actually are from me talking to you right now. So is there a way to find out the homeowners not paying their tax deeds or their taxes, not tax deed, their taxes, somebody else is paying it for them? Is there some kind of way of knowing that, or is it worth looking into that? Or so say you paid Mr. Smith's taxes for the year or 2 years, and I want to know, whatever reason, I don't know why I would want to know this, except for you bought them and he must have. So is there another way, or like a kind of, I call that a back door maybe? Is there a way of knowing somebody's paid the taxes? So you look up the county record, taxes are paid, but who paid them? Can you do that?
Yeah, that's a good one. So if it's a tax lien certificate that was issued, the tax lien holder information is public. You will see who the owner of that tax lien certificate is. You can definitely find that in public records because that's part of the government's process. You'll see. And interestingly enough, Hunter, do you know some of the biggest and largest tax lien investors are actual banks themselves?
Yeah.
My goodness. And they don't tell anybody. They just secret squirrels, buying up all the tax liens and earning these, really great rates of interest, but the interest rate that they actually give their customers are like 0.001, right? So it's really, really interesting that that's a thing. And that's really, really the truth.
That's wild. That's wild. So the big banks, the big bag banksters, we call them, right? They're the banksters. The banksters are buying up these little poor people's tax deeds, and they're supposed to be loaning money and getting interest on the money. So they're doing other things that they're not telling us about. That sounds like a big competition for the big bad banks to be picking on little Jackie and her money suit and going there and buying these tax certificates and all. But they probably got some reason, some way why they're doing it. And I don't know if you would know, but I don't really understand why they do that. I mean, I understand they see money. If they're doing it, there must be some money involved. So that's why people as yourself are doing it, because there's something involved besides just, being the good Samaritan and helping people, pay their taxes and reminding them of them needing to be paying their taxes and stuff like that. So I know there's got to be something in there, because I know those money outfits don't come free. So.
by any means, right? So all you have to do is just follow other people that are successful, right? So if US Bank and Ocean Bank and HSBC Bank and all these big name banks that you are really, really familiar with, and you're driving past them in your local community are investing in tax liens, and you should probably pay attention, that this is something that is advantageous to them, because they don't make they don't intentionally, I should say rather. So they don't intentionally make decisions where it's going to cause them a financial hardship, right? So you might want to, just pay attention to that. But more importantly, I also want to point out to you, banks are in the business for interest, right? So that's why liens are so sexy to them. But guess what they're not in the business of? Being property managers. They hate it. They hate it.
We hear that. I don't know if it's the cycle is changing or if they're changing on that, because there's a lot of properties that are not being foreclosed on, or banks that have foreclosed on, they still have these properties. I mean, I just doesn't. It's crazy to me.
It is.
Jackie, I tell you, this whole conversation has really enlightened and excited me too about what you do and about what's going on. and it's really interesting. So we're going to be able to let the viewers know how to get a hold of you. And also, I know you've been in the grind. You talked about your first deal. You talked about your winning processes. You talk about your faith. You're also a speaker, coach, but I also heard you're an author. I'm in Longboat, and I apologize. I was supposed to have this with me when I was going to do this presentation. And I asked Jackie before we came on, I said, Jackie, do you have a book that I can show? I don't have it. I can't show it, but Jackie. And so I asked her to dig one of those up. But I know you wrote a book, and tell us about this book you wrote.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was laughing. I'm like, what do you mean, Hunter? You didn't take my book with you on your fishing trip. What do you mean? Like, who does that?
Well, I bought a new boat, so I'm trying to learn how to use it. So I bought the how to use your gas, because I ran out of fuel already in my new boat. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get this new boat around the islands and around all the sinkholes, not sinkholes, sandbars. It's the opposite of a sinkhole. Sandbar is opposite. It's where the sand comes up, not goes down. So you got to watch out for those. So I apologize. I didn't know I was going to be here this long either. So, but let's see a cover of that book you got there.
Yeah, that's totally okay. I forgive you, Hunter. All
Thank
right.
you.
So here is my book. I'm trying to get the glare out of it. So
you can love God and drive a Bentley.
Yes.
That is awesome. I love that title. I love that. And I think we've already touched a little bit about that earlier. So explain that title you have there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that another money? No, that's not that money dress. That's that gold dress with that jacket. Golden Jackie.
That absolutely. So that one is the rose gold sequence dress where I'm walking down Park Avenue in Winter Park. I think, yeah, Park Avenue, Winter Park in Central Florida, very affluent area. And I'm walking on gold. All right. So that's what that is. But the book itself, right? My book, I went through biblical scriptures, right? Both Old Testament and New Testament, and just really immersed myself in what the word of God is saying. So everything in my book is backed up by that foundation of biblical scripture. So it actually is a prosperity guide straight from the Bible is what it says. So whether you are a believer, it doesn't, whatever faith, I should say rather, that you practice, there is some really amazing information in here that outlines the fact that you are supposed to be successful. You're supposed to be prosperous, and you're not supposed to feel guilty about wanting to be successful and having increase in your life. And there are some people that take a position justifying that, I'm not successful because, I'm going to get my benefits in the hereafter or the afterlife. I'm like, okay, that's one way that you can do it. I think that's like a personal choice, I suppose, but you can be successful right here, right now, in this moment, in this present time. So, and you're authorized, by the way, to do that. You have dominion, and you're able, definitely given the authority to have dominion in your area of expertise right here on earth. So this is what the book is all about, and it's available for Kindle download on Amazon, and you can also order the hard copy on Amazon as well. So it's lovely. I love it.
Yeah, we'll put that up too as well. For those of you that may want to get a copy, you should. I think Walking on Gold, drive a Bentley, love God, drive a Bentley, or love Buddha and drive a Bentley, or love whoever and drive a Bentley. So yeah, God didn't say put us on the earth to say, hey, be poor and wear no clothes. He said be abundance, and and so that way you can help take care of some of the others that are less fortunate, which I know you do. Mm-hmm. And I know you have programs in that and your charities. So that's the reason you're on here, because you do all those things. So I'm not going to have somebody on here. It's not successful. It's not giving to charities. It's not the abundance mentality, because people say, well, Hunter, you're putting people on here that do the same thing, kind of what you do. And I says, not maybe so, but maybe not. Maybe that person don't click with me. Maybe they click with Jackie or who. I mean, I don't care. It's abundance mentality, and people, for I know people all over, and not everybody's in Florida. And so that's another question. Do you work out of the state as well as in Florida with your people? Okay.
I have investments all across the country, and then I also invest out of state as well too. You know, Florida, the state of Florida is my backyard because I'm a resident here. But I enjoy looking at properties in other states as well too. As long as it fits the criteria and you know what I'm looking for, then I will definitely consider and entertain it.
Especially when it's 95 to 100 degrees out here. We always Floridians like to look in other states that are cooler to look at. I know Debbie and I sold a house in North Carolina last year, and I kind of wish we wouldn't have, but you know, hey, there's always more, and you know, like that. So we have good friends everywhere too. So I was, hey, you know, you can use my condo. Let me come to your house in Carolinas, and so that's good. The house swap thing is really awesome. But Jackie, you're so full of a lot of great information. You've been smiling the whole time. I don't know, you know, you must have taken a practice lesson on that, and maybe I need to take that lesson, because it's so contagious, and it is a beauty. It's very beautiful. You're a beautiful woman. Thank you. And your personality precedes itself. And anybody that's interested in the tax deeds, tax liens, you know, contact Jackie. Let her help you through that process if you've done one or done some. I mean, it's changing. Things change all the time, just like the foreclosure industry in our niche. You know, it's always changing. You always got to go with it. You know, you know, there's been a lot of things that's happened since 08, 09, and, you know, prior to that, 06 and all that. So we've made a lot of changes in our paperwork, documentation, searches, you know, people to contact, people to do business with, and all that. So things change, you know, like you say, this coronavirus, like you said, has leveled the playing field. That's what I said in the first month or two I started doing this. It's leveled the playing field for everybody. So now you're back to basic one, you know. So you have to realize who's real and who's not, and you know, make sure you grab a hold of the people that are real, that are and real about doing it. You're not, you know, sitting on the sidelines in this time. You're out there making stuff happen. I know we've talked multiple times before this has happened and since it's happened, and that's why we're here today with you on here. So if you have questions, definitely Michelle's looking at them. I never look at questions when I'm on these Zoom calls and this live Facebook Live, because I got the ADD and I can't. We will answer any questions that come in afterwards. I think it's a better way of doing it for me, because it doesn't mix the flow up with you and I and on here. And you've been fantastic on this interview. I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on here. And you know, I'd love to hear more about what you're doing. I know you got some other things cooking too. We've talked about that we won't bring up now, but you know, I want to take a first peek at all that stuff. I don't want to bring it out here. So it's been really a blessing. You're exciting. I was going to wear my money shorts for you, but you know, maybe I'll have to take a picture and put them up later, because I don't have them with me. Like I say, I thought we'd be home Sunday night. What is today? Tuesday. Transactional Tuesday. And I told my mom earlier, I says, Mom, we're not coming home until this weekend, you know. And the girls in the office, I had a video conference with them this morning, which was really nice. And so everything's flowing great. Deals are closing, like you said. We're loaning money. People are borrowing money. We're getting other stuff done for others. And to have you on today has been a blessing for the day, for sure. And it's been awesome. Any last positive words for the viewers today, and things that they may do in the future?
Absolutely. Always with a positive word. For anyone that's interested in investing in real estate or using real estate as their vehicle of choice to manifest what their greatest desire and vision is, what I would share with them is to get a coach, get a mentor, get someone who is already successful in that specific niche that you would like to learn, and just master that and have the courage to invest in yourself. Because one of the challenges I have found that a lot of people experience is they are timid to invest in someone else. But the truth is, they're not investing in anyone else. You're investing in yourself, because once you learn a skill, once you understand the nuances and the special techniques, no one can ever take that away from you. You can be dropped in any town, USA or anywhere, and you will be able to replicate what you learn and implement that for your success, right? So that's the real key of actually being abundant, is to be able to multiply yourself and just reproduce and be of service to everybody around you. So that's what I would leave with. Be encouraged, stay encouraged. Don't listen to the news, turn off all that junk and invest in yourself.
That's it. You know, I was on with Marshall Silver a couple of weeks back, and I know I've invested in a lot of self-development with him and a few others, not just him, Richard Flint being another. And yeah, I mean, you just have to do it, because if you don't, nobody else is. So if you're not believing in yourself and investing in yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. So you need to take action and make that happen. Again, thank you, Jackie Jackson, for being on here today. We really loved having you here. And I would love to have some more communication. And I know we will, because we're talking about some other things that you're working on. And I'd love to be a part of that. So we'll talk to you soon. This is Cinco de Mayo today too. So I don't know if I don't know if you speak any Spanish. But...
I'm staying hydrated right here.
All right, girl. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week.
Thank you, Hunter. Thank you so much for having me on. Have a blessed day and enjoy your mini staycation and your boat.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Bye-bye.